Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have to just do it. It's like I can tell myself I don't have to think about things that don't matter.
I was designed to do those things. How the hell does this guy know this about me?
It's impossible to not see.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's psychic. She's like, how does he know that?
Yes.
She's like, it's human design, guys. Like, it's just a testimony of how legit it is.
Seriously, Danny was like FBI or CIA. He's like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, there were just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast Sunday show. My name is Jen, and decoding the matrix for us is Danny Guru.
Jennifer, it's really good to see you.
It's really good to see you too, Dan. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to everyone.
Yes.
It's going to be a good one today.
Yes, it is. I'm really excited to be diving into today's topic. We are on episode number 27, and we're going to be going over the gates of the root and head centers. It is November 6th. I can't get over that. This year is flying by.
Where did it go?
What was that?
Where did it go?
Oh, I know. And it just keeps going by faster and faster every year. So, but before we dive into today's topic, guys, please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the show. And we have been getting a lot of new people. So welcome to our community. Please let us know if you have any questions. We would love to answer them. And it also gives us ideas on what to go over for future episodes. And we will be doing... last week or the week before, we had launched our new monthly program, which is called The Vortex, and it offers a container that you can learn more about human design, but not just human design, tools that you can utilize within your human design experiments. So we're going to be having our first group coaching call this week. So if you're not a member already, please make sure you go to our website and check that out. It is only $8.88 a month. And that price will be going up after the new year because it's got a lot of information inside of the Vortex. But to lock in your price and become a founding member, all you got to do is just join. So
just join and keep adding to it. We're going to keep adding to it over time.
Hey, Kajella.
Kajella, nice to see you, hon.
Yes, Kajella is one of our members too. So we're going to be...
I'm going to call you after the show. Is that okay? So very good, Jen. Are we done with that? Are you ready to...
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all the announcements that we have. But guys, make sure that you always go and check our website. We are adding new things on a weekly basis. All sorts of different stuff. You can pull your own charts, programs, book your session. If you've got questions, all of those things. So definitely make sure to look at the links down below. And I just saw the Meet Us in Roswell. I've gotten some feedback on that. We do have some people that are going to be meeting us down there. Me and Dan are going to be at the UFO Expo next year, March 10th, 11th, and 12th in Roswell, New Mexico. So come on down. There's going to be a lot of speakers, and you can get to meet us in person. So we can see how those auras impact when we're live.
It's going to be good.
Yes.
It's going to be thousands of people there. It's a great big event, and we'll be doing little mini readings and talking about design concepts and all kinds of other things and touring what the whole event has to offer. It's going to be great.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to it.
So today we're talking about, we got off this long kick of the awareness centers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we went into the blood flow, but the life forces that sit between these awareness centers that are, that's the spider web that sort of connects it all up. The tree of life that connects it all up is more apt perfectly put.
Her.
Yes. And so it was just a 1 hour show on or a little more on just the life forces. We didn't really stick with any one particular one. We were discussing what their purpose is. They brought us all together. And now we can get back into the centers. So we have our awareness, we have the life force that connects each center to itself, and then we have the centers themselves. After the awareness comes the pressure. And if I recall, didn't we write the title up as the pressures that pressure our awareness? Something like that?
It is. Yeah. Well, it's the
How I
root
wrote
and
it.
head center create the pressure that pressures humanity's awareness.
Yes, they do. So remember, genetic science here, guys. Empirical, experiment with it. You can see for yourself. This is an empirical program that has everything to do with stuff that we can measure. And so the head center and the root center are pressure centers by design. They are keynoted as pressure centers, like an awareness center is an awareness center. These are pressure centers, the head and the ajna. If you look at a body graph, you'll notice the head is on top and the root, I meant to say, and the root is on the very bottom. And so we're in a pressure sandwich. And do we have and I should have thought to send you a body graph. Do we have any body graph?
I actually updated the slides today, so I don't have a slide that has. I can pull one up real quick though.
Yeah, just to point out, I should have put this on there before, the visual appearance of where these centers sit. So we can see, actually the awareness centers slide from several weeks ago might be a good one, if that's easily available, and I'll keep talking. So it's where these centers sit. We have the genetic predisposition, a genetic proclivity and need to be under pressure to root center move, and movement creates our awareness. It makes us experience the world, and through that we gain our awareness. And up top, it's the pressure to think, the pressure to have concepts. The pressure is really keynoted with the pressure to translate our own existence and the existence of others, the pressure to translate existence generally through a trinity of past, present, and future. Future stuff awareness, current, present moment, sudden knowing, past awareness, experiential stuff we experienced. This is what we're doing with it all. And so these pressure centers are pointing right at our three awarenesses. So all the talk we have about them under so much pressure, we're supposed to be there. And once we get you read and your human design read and we look into it more, you'll start to realize, oh, they're not bad. They're just a chemistry inside of me. They're pressures that are expanding my awareness and that of those around me. So head center on top, pressuring the ajna, root center on the bottom, and 3 channels go shooting off to the right to pressure the solar plex center, and 3 channels go shooting off to the left to pressure the spleen. And that spleen gives us our survival awareness. Under adrenalized pressure, do we become aware of survival? And our emotions, you'd think, maybe our emotions would be given something a little more delicate to become emotional with, but nope. In the body graph and in humanity, our emotions are under pressure to come out, to exist. It's as if the adrenaline system shocks our emotional process into motion. Oh yeah, perfect. So the triangle on the very top, it's not named, but that's the head center. And it's pointing right at the ajna's awareness. Look at all 3 channels dead end into the ajna center at the very top of the chart.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very bottom of the chart, you can see there's that root center. And look, 3 channels go off to the left, to the spleen, and 3 channels go off to the right, to the solar plex. So the whole talk on all of the awarenesses that we gave over the past 6 weeks, and the life forces that go between them, that activate them, our awareness is supposed to be under pressure. Apparently the fates want us to get smarter and more aware, and they want our consciousness to grow. And if I'm not mistaken, we want that too. I noticed that this is a big want on the planet. And so, I mean, that's a thing. we can't ignore this. So genetically, we're supposed to have these pressures that are these gates around these centers. And just so you know, this may take more than one session. I don't know that we're going to get through every single one of them on both of these centers. We may bleed into the next Sunday.
Oh no, I think I think it's an excellent topic that we need to cover. So
right, and in doing so, we work our way through the centers so that people learning this and coming to grips and coming to an understanding of it all can really have some nice, deep, long-winded, long-form explanation of this stuff that they can, chew into. So all of this awareness is designed to go to the throat. It's all designed to be under pressure. We wonder, why do we always feel under pressure? Now you know. So if you have an open root center, it's not your pressure. If you have an open head center, trying to be certain about what is it you're even supposed to think about, it's not your pressure. Thinking about too many things, not your pressure. And this is going to be difficult for you to get used to at a first go. So obviously we need to read for you. We need to get you in the right place. But yeah, so can we go to, let's start with the root center.
I put them both together.
Okay, good. Oh, the root and the head. Yay. So, is anyone else on?
Yeah, no.
Okay. So, where are we here? Starting with the root center. If you notice, there's 9 gates on the root center. And from the slide before, you saw that the 19, the 39, and the 41 on the right-hand side, they point at the solar plex. So juicy emotional awareness is what's being empowered and fueled. What are you smiling at, Jen?
Well, when you asked if anybody was on, we had 6 viewers, but no one was on behind the scenes. So everybody was chiming in. I'm on. I see you guys. Dan was asking if anybody else was popping on to the show.
Tressa or Savannah had popped on. So these are all pointing at the solar plex center, and it's real important to recognize the solar plex and its emotional awareness.
Savannah's now popping on.
Is under pressure.
Because she said that. Yep. Well, she hadn't turned on her camera yet.
And then you look off to the left, and you'll see that gates 54, 38, and 58, these are pressuring the awareness of the spleen, the sudden emotional awareness. Yep. And then as you look across the top, yep, that one. And then as you look across the top, these become format channels between the root center and the sacral. These are pressuring the sacral to lock in a process. Lock in this process with that sustaining sacral energy that sustains. And as we read through these gates of this root center, it's going to come clear what they're all doing. These are all expressly different pressures pointing at things that when you start to really get a hang of whether you're defined or not in the root center, what the heck it's all doing. It's not here to ruin our lives, by the way, make us need to, have 2 stiff drinks every night. It's there to pressure awareness. Hi, Savannah.
Hi. I didn't know if Tressa was coming on or not, but then I saw she wasn't on, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'll come on. Tressa's not here.
Yeah, no,
is she coming on?
She was supposed to. Said she would, but maybe something came up. So anyway.
Open. You just talked about open root, and I have an open root in my chart, so I totally feel that pressure, like absorbing other people.
Have an open root.
Yeah, that's right, Jen. All 3 of us have an open root.
I think Tressa does too. So all of us have an open root.
Egads. Are we okay?
Yeah. So it's always like I'm always feel like the stress and anxiety to like hurry and get stuff done. And then it's almost like I don't know how to just push it to the side and kind of just like relax. Like that's how I've seen it expressed for me. It's like I'm here to learn how to manage my stress and my pressure, right? Essentially, that's what the open root is all about, right?
Literally. Jen, how do you experience that open root?
It's a tremendous pressure. It's the pressure to get things done. I've seen it in my survival mode too, when I have the pressure come in, I get either anxiety or something needs to get anything to relieve that. And sometimes I get stuck up in my mind on trying to figure out what that pressure is or what's causing that pressure to come through.
Right.
So,
and more, we realize that it's our openness. That it's open is by definition mandating that the pressure field on the planet will flow through us, generated by those with it defined.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Because my husband has his route defined. And so it's almost like sometimes I noticed when he would like get home from work or something, or if he had been like on a long business trip and he would come home, I noticed I would feel anxiety and like this like pressure. And I'm like, what is going on? And like learning our human designs, I'm like, oh, I'm absorbing his stress and his pressure.
Right.
Like it's like I have my own, but then I'm like absorbing and taking in his stress and his pressure. And
it's
so
not yours. It's not
yeah,
yours.
and it's mine. Yeah, so I feel like that's been really healthy for our relationship and like healthy for me to understand that it's like, okay, is this my pressure that I'm supposed to be feeling? And then also I remember you mentioning how sometimes, you know, people can get taken advantage of when they have an open route, like in a work environment, because they're the type that will just keep going, doing, because they're trying to get rid of that pressure they're constantly feeling. Like it's almost like they don't get a break from the pressure, right? Like that
helped
maybe
ruin a marriage for me. It helped ruin a marriage for me. I thought I had to be the mighty loan officer that never stopped, and someone could call at any time, day or night, and I would be under pressure to pick up that phone. As soon as I saw the name coming through, I'd be like, there's a loan on the other end of this. There's a service I get to provide for my job. That was a commission job. And I could never turn off because I was always under pressure and feeling like I needed to relieve it by doing whatever the thing was that entered my awareness.
Yes, I love how you explain that. That's so how it is. I almost feel like it's kind of similar to the open solar plexus, like not knowing when enough is enough, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like you don't know when enough is enough when it comes to getting stuff done or doing something. So
yeah,
like,
and the sacral does the primary conditioning about that whole keynote of not knowing when enough is enough, but then it bleeds into and overlays itself on the root center, not knowing when enough is enough on the pressure. Absolutely.
yeah.
Not knowing enough is enough in the wave. You know what I mean? All of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I've also heard it expressed as like you can't, even though like you can't rest, you feel like you can't be happy or rest until you've accomplished all the things that you want to accomplish, right? It's almost like this constant feeling of like,
It means we never rest.
yeah, this discontentment with what you're able to get done or what your goals are. It's like almost this constant discontentment, I guess you could say.
Well, Jen, you were about to say it looks like as if we never rest.
Well, yes, and that's one of the things that I'm realizing. And Corinne is on. She's been following me for quite some times, and she has seen me switch things and build programs and coaching things. And I was constantly doing things. I'm always busy. I always have a different business as a travel or whatever. And that I realized is coming from the pressure of my route to go and do all these different things. So when I had the self-realization that I was always busy, that was me making myself busy. And it's because I'm trying to release that pressure where I'm not doing that so much. I have that awareness. And when that pressure does come in, your voice actually pops in my head that's not my pressure. So I actually tell the pressure that's not my pressure.
And it doesn't work perfectly, does it?
It takes time. No, it's repetitive. It's repetition. It's, when you say that to yourself, it's not just the first time and it's going to go away or it's going to ease. It is the self-awareness. And the only way for you to do that is to enter your experiment and practice with it. What works for me, what works for Savannah, and what works for you, Dan, may not work for somebody else. But it's practicing that. But when I do experience that pressure, I tell myself it's not my pressure. And then I realize afterwards that I either got into something that I wasn't, it was out of survival, or I felt like I needed to get that done, or whatever reason there is. But it's helped me.
Totally. Savannah, do you remember in the beginning I would say, oh, it's not your pressure. There, you're all better now. And we would laugh at that, recognizing, no, I am not all better now. This one's going to take a year or two.
I know, because sometimes it can feel really frustrating to someone when they're feeling pressure, and you're just like, just stop feeling it. Sometimes it's like the thing you just don't want to hear and doesn't make you feel better. So no, I get what you're saying.
No, not at first. Not at first. But the more of us that start to understand this, the more we can commune and commiserate and laugh at some of the things, because the three of us have done the stupidest things in our natural lives under pressure, thinking we had to hurry, took on too much, didn't finish the thing, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Just bit off more than we could chew. Type
Yeah.
thing. We've all done things that are like, oh my God, I did that.
Yeah. So, Jen, do you have any of the gates on the route? Which ones do you have?
I'm not too sure. I don't know my gates offhand, actually.
Because Dan, I know you have 19.
I have 19 and 60, and you have, which one do you have?
I have 41 and 54. So we got, what is that? We have 4 of the 9 gates.
Do you have any? Did you pull up your chart? You want me to go get it?
I'm pulling it up.
Yep.
You were talking about something before Savannah popped on it. I couldn't even remember what you were saying. I was gonna.
I was right in the process of how it's pushing awareness.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So,
Dan,
you're going to point out that they have themes on an open center. The gates have themes. That's what you're about to talk about.
I have 41.
Oh, okay, cool. We both have 41. Okay.
Oh, good. We're going to start with 41 as we start to talk about these centers. So what happens is, so now let's talk quickly then about a defined root center. If you're defined, you basically are creating the pressure and stress field and the movement. And you're actually, if you're defined, you're the one that's moving around a lot less compared to the open root person right next to you. So Savannah, Jake gets home after a few days gone or whatever. I can imagine you're under pressure to appear as if you're doing stuff around the house.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. Under, just under, and that's not yours. Now, go ahead, Jen.
That's a key thing that people need to know with, especially in unhealthy relationships. My ex would do that. As soon, I don't know what his define is, but it was a not healthy relationship. But as soon as he did, I would push myself to do all these things, just like you said. I just had that awareness.
Right.
Like I'd get up and start cleaning, or when I knew that he was about to come home, it was that pressure to make sure everything was immaculate before he walked through the door.
So that's, none of that was yours. And you didn't really necessarily care for it, except those.
Oh, no.
Right. But I bet there was go ahead.
Because I knew ultimately it didn't matter if the house was immaculate, there was always going to be something wrong with it. So that added even more pressure to the pressure.
Right. I can imagine. Savannah, you were going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, the defined root, it's almost like, right, because that's like the adrenals is where in the root center. Yep. That's like the gland that goes there. And so it has to do with like managing stress and pressure. So people probably like a defined root, they know how to kind of pace themselves. Is that right, Dan? They're good. They can kind of manage their stress better and know how to kind of pace themselves. But someone who has it open, it's like we have to kind of learn and master that. It doesn't come naturally for us. Is that kind of how you would differentiate?
That's exactly the differentiation, yeah. And it's not that they have no stress. It's just that you're right. They tend to manage it because that stress, it propels movement, physical movement, or a lot of mental movement, or even vocal. It propels movement, that pressure does.
Because I remember reading that they were saying like someone with a defined root, they would do better with a job where there's like there are all these deadlines and
Deadline,
like I
yep.
can get a newspaper or something like that, like lots of deadlines getting, but someone with an open route, like that would just fry their adrenals. That would just,
It fries us, and I was always under deadlines. It fried me. I remember that.
Could tell
Um,
it makes my projector adrenalize with energy pulsing on most of the time, and when it's off, it is really off.
And you know that, and she knows, and Carla, and you know the difference is the thing. So the defined root will be like, no, I turned it off now. I'm resting. And like the ego that will demand its rest and take it, the root will simply stop pouring out that pressure for itself. But it's all still there for the open root person that's sitting next to them. They're still under the same pressure through their not self mind and their old way, you know, that we keep talking about. And it basically still makes them feel under pressure to move.
yeah.
Yourself, you know,
Because the root works in pulses, right, Dan? It's kind of on, off, right? So someone who has that defined, they kind of know that pulse.
yeah,
They know when to turn it on, turn it off. But when someone who has it open like us, we kind of just struggle to know when to turn it on, turn it off. Like it's something we have to like become consciously aware of and try and make it happen or
Right.
become more aware of it, right?
And experience the saying no. A lot, so much of human design I keep starting to recognize comes in the person's ability to say no to the other. And no, that's not my pressure. But it's okay. It's just not mine. So I don't
Because
feel like
I've noticed with the open route, it's like when I get something I'm supposed to do, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to hurry and get this done. And it's almost like I won't stop until I get that thing done. But in that process, I'm burning myself out and I'm stressing myself out. And so that's how it's almost having to tell myself, like, no, Savannah, you can take a break. You can do it tomorrow. Like, stop stressing yourself out. You know, like that's what I've had to start kind of doing with myself. Yeah.
A primary symptom I've noticed as it relates to using a chart to diagnose things, the primary symptom I've noticed is you get stuck in doing something and you put your thing into it. And by the time you finally finish, if you're drained, by the time you finish a thing, and this happens regularly, I did this whole thing because I was under pressure and you finished it and then you're drained. If that keeps happening, that's your symptom. That's you're acting out the pressure that's not yours. Again, it doesn't mean don't do the thing. It means you'll start to realize to pace yourself, slow down. Again, take that intentional breath or two where you're intentionally listening to yourself. Take that breath and feeling it.
Because open roots would probably be more prone to adrenal fatigue and adrenal burnout.
Oh, burnout! I don't want to do it. When the adrenals fatigue, suddenly they're under incredible pressure without the energy to move, and now that doubles up the pressure.
Yeah.
To the not self mind, right?
Yes.
It also makes me think of caffeine, right? Because what is caffeine doing? It's ramping up the adrenals, making them shoot out that cortisol and that stress.
Yep.
So I've heard some people even experimenting with caffeine, whether you have like an open route or a closed route, like how does that affect you? Or is the body more able to handle that cortisol and handle that stress?
Right.
So
you experiment with all the things. And so let's start and I think we've said enough about a defined route, living in the stress field, pacing itself, recognizing whatever its definition is that defines it, recognizing that definition is going to be the main theme of how they deal with the pacing of that pressure and the pressure in general and deadlines and bosses and underlings, all the things, right? Relationships. So they seem to pace themselves. So now let's go around. What are these pressures in this root center doing all this miraculous work? Don't forget, it's the root center. It makes us move. We like it. You know, the root center is without it, you know, obviously we're no good. We're not human anymore. So
some of my best work has come out of being under pressure.
Under pressure. Yeah. As open root people, as we get more of a handle on it, we can start to recognize, for me, I very often find myself saying, oh my God, that's a lot of pressure. I love it. Let's do it. Because it's a lot of pressure. And I'm like, I feel like it now. Now I know that's a response in the moment. And if they think I'm going to repeat that response tomorrow and the next day, they're sadly mistaken. I have no idea what that response will be, you know, the next time they ask it. So that's what it is, getting to know. So let's say you do it at one point, doesn't mean you have to do it the next time. I ran through and I cleaned the whole house. Oh, sweet. Next time, it's like I did not run through and clean the whole house. I did the dishes so we could have dinner. You know, you cleaned some of the house. See what I'm saying? And now, but now, if the couple doesn't know this, that can become a conflict.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yes.
So, you know, the person coming home with a defined route can say, yeah, no, I get it. Good enough. And I see it. And the person with the open route can say, you know, glad you saw it. I didn't want to have to say no too many more times. It's uncomfortable. And I'm learning. See what I'm saying? That's an awake conversation in that moment. You know,
Yeah.
non-divorcing, awake, loving conversation.
Yeah. And I think also like the post that we made yesterday about the root center, how it's both a motor and a pressure center. So it's kind of double whammy with like providing energy and inputs to get things done. You know, like my husband has 3 motors defined in his chart that which includes this root center, but I don't. I have like one little motor, my little heart center, willpower center. And so he does. He has more energy to like get things done as compared to me. And so sometimes he has to kind of step in and like lend that
Extra
root
juice.
energy. Yeah, that juice, that extra energy, because my body graph and my chemistry, it's just not there
Right,
like it is for him. And so sometimes I have to kind of say that to my husband, like, I don't have the energy that you have, you know, like, I'm sorry I didn't get these things done. Like, I'm doing the best I can. So I think it helps to understand that too, that this root can give you more energy. It's a motor, and a
Powerful
pressure
thought.
center. So
Well, that's right. Your hubby has all 3 motors but the sacral.
yeah, so he's a big time energy projector. Well,
Yep.
I am considered an energy projector, but I just have that one little motor
Yep.
working for me. Yeah.
Plugging away. Yep.
Mhm. But so what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with 41 or would you want to start with
Let's
52?
just go counterclockwise around the wheel. So 41. This is, let's run the numbers. So 41, root center, pressure, right? Adrenaline. It's in the collective abstract circuit. So it wants to initiate the start of a feeling. It's in the stream of awareness called feelings going through the emotional solar plex. So it's looking to finally get all the way up to the throat. Jen, I should have really had this other picture handy. Can you go back to the other body graph? Let's draw that line from 41 all the way up to the throat. 41 all the way up to 30, 36, 10 to 35. Finally, progress. You know, we got somewhere. We can feel a sense of accomplishment. So 41 starts this stream of awareness and is trying to pressure it into existence. So let's go back to the thing. What is gate 41? Increase. We renamed it to the gate of contraction because while it is a pressure, it contracts and only squeezes out one thing at a time. It's pointing at gate 30 in the solar plex, which is called the clanging fire, and wants to hold on to the feeling. It's desperate for new feelings to be empowered into it so it can start to experience them. But the root says, nope, I am the fuel for fantasy. I am the beginning of the human experiential way. I'm the only start codon in the body graph, so you can look at me like I'm the capital letter at the beginning of a sentence. I start the experiential way through fantasy. This is a design of being able to have a wild, rich, incredible fantasy about anything and then release the feelings one at a time. So the root center is a pressure trying to fix the emotional wave into one at a time. And then the emotional wave comes along and says, I want more. Give me 4 at a time, you know, because it's hungry. But another word for gate 41 is hunger. It's desire. So desire, hunger, the experiential way, it hungers to start the thing. And because it is the human experiential way, much of it is sexual. The hunger for the experience. So if you have this whole stream of awareness, well, you know, you're a little bit promiscuous when you grew up, most likely. And that's okay. Please don't let anyone tell you that's bad. What else about 41?
Isn't it about, would you say it's about like dreams and goals, right? And wanting to have certain experiences and isn't it also about like wanting to experience these certain emotions through an experience?
Absolutely. Yeah, but don't forget, it's not aware yet. It's pressuring the awareness. It's the all spark to spark up the human experiential way. What's it like to drive a wooden canoe through whitewater rapids? I want just, what I gotta know, and then when I'm done, I want to skydive. What's it like to whatever?
Yeah, because isn't it kind of similar a little bit to Gate 36 about like having new experiences,
Yes.
creating new experiences?
Yeah, Gate 36 ends up being the energy to like really kick what the clinging fire finally latched onto. So the clinging fire is looking for 1 million feelings. And 36 says, all right, clinging fire, you've been wrangled by Gate 41 that only gave you one. And now I'm turning into an expectation. I'm getting real crisisy and nervous about the inexperience I have about this clinging fire, which is a nervousness that wants to have the feeling. Now, if you can know this about yourself and just know that that's how the mechanism will always work, when you get that giddy butterfly feeling, you can realize I don't got to do anything about it. It's got to play its course. So,
because doesn't Gate 41 also experience a nervousness, like a nervousness about an experience, or a nervousness about a dream or an imagination or a goal? They kind of get
sure, it'll
right?
share in the whole nervousness process of the emotional wave. I see what you're saying, but its original inception, its first thing is to pressure out the adrenalized energy to literally start this process. Basically, 41 is it's like the guy's gun at the beginning of the start line when he shoots the gun and everyone gets to go. It's at the starting line. That's 41.
It has like a creative element to it, right?
Incredibly, yeah.
So very imaginative, very likes to create, imagine, fantasy, right?
And think about what circuit is it in? It's in the collective abstract circuit. So this is always having mired over the past, all the possibilities. What might my next experience be? So it's not quite necessarily creative like the individual circuitry is truly mutative. This is taking stuff mostly already in existence and fantasizing about all the many permutations that could come along with it. Gate 41 is the primary gate of our fantasy. It fantasizes about no rules, anything. And it waits for the awareness of the solar plex. As the solar plex wakes up in our lifetime and it starts to, in our world, we'll start to see it clean up. And suddenly it won't latch on to everything that's just awful and rotten and hard to deal with and too many things. 30 will smarten up and it'll be like, I was given this fantasy by 41 today. So that's on the menu. So it'll be like what you see at a fisherman's dock. It's like, no, you got catch of the day. That's what you got.
Yeah. So if you have pressure to like have and fulfill these fantasies, if you gave 41, just know nothing's wrong with you, right?
Right. Thank you. So, and now if it's on an open center, it's intermittent. So you're used to it showing up and then not being able to rematerialize easy. And so you think that's a problem. It's not. If it's in a defined center, it's always working. And you think you always got to work through all of it. And it's a problem if I don't get to them all. It's not. It's perfect. You'll get to them according to your strategy and authority. 41, the pressure.
Do you have any thoughts or experiences, Jen, with Gate 41? Or noticed it in your life and how it's expressed for you?
I can definitely notice how it is. And I like how you put the depression that dreams and experience become reality or meet our expectations. What I noticed with this one too is that before I would place too much expectations on things, and then when it didn't turn out that way, I would get upset. So when I do get, because I'm very dreamy, I fantasize a lot about all sorts of different things, how things will roll out, not to make sure that I don't get hung up with the details of how that is going to turn out. It'll be there.
Or not.
Or not. Yes. Right. But at that moment, that's what's coming through. So, yeah, I can definitely see how it plays out in my life.
I don't have a Gate 41, so I've been conditioned by all you Gate 41s in my life. You guys bring that whole experiential fantasy process onto the plane. So thank you for all the juicy movie titles over the past 100 years.
Savannah, I have a question for you that just came in. Did you daydream a lot? Do you daydream?
Yeah, I would say yeah. I would say I do. When I was little, I was very creative and like imaginative
too.
and things like that. So I feel like it's made me easy to be able to like do imaginative play with my kids. So I
Yes.
feel like it's something I've always come very easily for me, and so yeah.
Yes. That just came in. I was like, okay, that's where I fantasize a lot about a lot of things is it's a form of daydreaming.
Mm-hmm.
How important is daydreaming to our life? It's wicked important.
Yeah, very important.
For me, daydreaming becomes a little mini vacation. So we're moving up these streams of awareness, pointing at the emotional solar plex center. So remember, the root is always trying to fix the emotional solar plex process into its its adrenalized way, because the emotions will go all over the place. Now think of gate 39. It's pointing at the spirit. Everyone knows that gate of spirit's going to go all over the place. 55 right there. Yeah.
I have 55.
Yes, and 55 is always all over the place. It goes up, it goes down, it's here, it's there. It's spirit, dude. It's waiting to feel full. But gate 39 would like to basically flirt with that. It would like to provoke it. It would like to get into a little ritualistic dance that says, "No, I want to provoke this one thing." It's the pressure to literally create a provocation that very often is to do nothing. It's the pressure to do nothing at the emotional solar plex center and let the solar plex center come to it. It's a form of flirting.
Yeah, my husband has gate 39. He actually has the whole channel, and then my daughter also has gate 39. It's in her moon. Oh my gosh, does she like to poke the bear? She likes to kind of start fights, poke the bear, and sometimes it kind of drives us crazy.
What's the purpose of poking the bear? Humanity clearly needed this as it relates to its consciousness program and becoming aware. What's the purpose of that?
Breaks people out of complacency.
Yep. Anything else?
Well, it provokes spirit and passion and purpose and why.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if we didn't have this adrenalized, like a fighter provoking in gate 39, the provocateur that will poke at things in order to find that spirit, then where would we be? Complacent.
Yeah, I feel like gate 39 gets like a bad rap
Because it's a flirt bag. It's a total flirt. That provocation is a flirt. All of these gates flirt with the emotional solar plex center.
Yeah.
They flirt with it. They try and seduce it a little bit. They try and, get next to it. They want to warm up to it. It's flirting. That's what all these gates do.
But it's almost like I know they can provoke like good spirit in people and like help people be in a good mood and help people find their purpose. But they can also kind of go on the other end too, where they're provoking like people to be in a bad mood and provoking, like making people pissed off.
Right.
So I can see how it can go both ways. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
I dated somebody one time, and I believe he had gate 39. Which I have 55, and his flirting, it was a bit too much for me sometimes. It was a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Let's call out the name. So the I Ching boys, they called it obstruction, gate 39. So yep, the I Ching guys, and maybe women too. I'm not sure. The I Ching
people. I feel like how I've seen it in my husband is it comes out as like these sarcastic jabs. Like, sometimes people be sarcastic with a joke and it's like they say it and it kind of like stings, right? It's trying to provoke your spirit. And so it's like, what the heck? Like that was rude. Like, don't say that to me. Like, that's how I've seen it expressed. Also with my daughter, like sometimes she'll just say these like rude jokes and, so it's hard to like, okay, am I going to let this get to me? Am I going to let this make me pissed off? So got a lot of provoking energy over at my house.
So what's this obstruction here in gate 39? It's obstructing the wave. That's the provocation. Obstruction, putting a roadblock in front of the wave being able to do its work. So the spirit fights back and says, you've given the wrong provocation, and it withdraws its spirit. And then the flirting provocateur comes back, oh, hold on, I'll change my tune a little. And changes its provocation.
Yeah, because isn't then they sometimes, if people with gate 39, if they don't have anything to poke or don't know like what to provoke, doesn't that kind of give them this like melancholy?
Yes, the melancholy. Also, it's in the individual circuitry. That means it's mutative. It's in a pulse. It's there to be of consequence to the other. It starts out the stream of passion and closeness that is inside. Hi, Corinne. That's inside the individual stream of awareness going all the way up to the throat.
Yes, gate 39Y trigger people without even trying to do anything. Yep.
Yes, but Corinne, you have a sharp tongue that will pop up. And so all you have to really do is make a sound, a sigh, or have just the right word that even in passing has a vocal quality that is provoking them.
Yeah. My sister has gate 39 also as part of her incarnation cross. And yeah, she will point out when, you know, something's wrong or when someone needs to, I mean, she also has gate, is it 18? So, but yeah, like sometimes you're here to provoke this spirit in other people to get people to awaken or to change. You know, so really that's its gift, right? Is to mutate the collective, to help people evolve, to help people improve, right? Find their purpose.
Mutate the individual, and the individual does mutate the collective. All individual circuitry is here to mutate the collective and the tribe. It's just that the tribe can deal with it and the collective hates it.
Yeah.
They want their patterns. So the provocateur, it's got a built-in melancholy. There's nothing to provoke. And I can't even tell if there's a spirit worth provoking. It's just sadness that can come in. So when you feel that sadness in gate 39, like there's nothing new and life is hard and it's a melancholy, all individual definition, life is difficult, I'm sad, I'm blue, I can't tell why. Make sure you're recognizing that I have gate 39. It wants to provoke. Clearly, I want to provoke something. There's nothing to provoke. Clearly, I want to, you know, I want to feel this feeling of being alive in the flow that we would call a passion or a romance with anything, including another person. And it's not there.
It also reminds me, you know how they mentioned if you have, especially this 3955 channel, they say, because right, the root, that's that root chakra, and that's that adrenalized pressure. So walking, exercising, sometimes it can help you release that provoking pressure. If you are going through one of those melancholy dips, they say, you know, using your legs, biking, walking, running, those things can help you kind of release that pressure, right? Remember how Meg was talking about that a couple weeks ago?
Yep. It's so true. It's just a thing. So what to do? You know, it's a pressure that's guaranteed to provoke and become mutative to the other. It seeks to start the process through the pressure of adrenaline to create the awareness of the spirit in the human next to them and in themselves.
Do you want to move up to gate 19? You have one, don't you, Dan?
I got gate 19. Gate 19 is always trying to bring the resources, the gate of approach. It's basically this gate of wanting. It's loaded down with the want to be part of the tribe, the want to fit in. And if the principals on the other end say, hey, I don't know if we dig you, then you can want all you want, but you're not getting in. Yeah, right. And so gate 19 is always under pressure to bring up new resources, to have new things to bear. Gate 19 can't go without a full refrigerator. Gate 19 can't, you know, you could just put empty cereal boxes inside of all the cupboards and gate 19 would be happy because it only ever really picks one of them. You know, it just always wants the rest on hand just in case. It starts the mystical process, gate 19, of approach. And approach in a tribal sense is a mystical process. It's going to bring people together. it is this great starting force in the adrenals to basically bring the tribe into existence.
Yeah.
Community can have all the community it wants. You can have all the principles you want. You can have all the shockness that you want. But the shocker, the gate of the channel of initiation, is about leaving the tribe. 19 is firing up the tribe. Period. Let's fire up this tribe.
Gate 19 is focused in making sure everyone has their resources, right? Making sure everyone's taken care of, has enough food, has enough, right? Would you say someone with Gate 19 is very giving, very caring of the family and their friends, making sure they have money or food, right? Is that kind of the essence of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at what you wrote about the pressure can turn inward. Yep. Leading to the because it's very sensitivity. It's a gate of deep sensitivity. That stream of awareness it's inside the body graph. So we've done the collective, we've done the individual, and the inside stream is the tribal stream. And that's keynoted with sensitivity. So they become oversensitive. Did you write this, Savannah?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, pressure can. So I've noticed you keep writing good keynoted phrases that I never hear Ross speak, but could have been used. Pressure can turn inward, leading to oversensitivity, codependency, and neediness. Yep.
Have you experienced that, Dan, in your relationship?
Yeah, all of it. And then I felt bad, like I was weak because I felt needy.
Mm-hmm.
I was under pressure that wasn't mine.
Yeah.
That's in an open center. It's not my pressure to
Mm-hmm.
be needy and feel, desperate or wanting to belong, wanting to fit in and meet up with the principles that will join the community and the tribe, wanting to bring my resources into it. I would wear out my energy trying to do that stuff when it wasn't for me. Had someone ask me, "Do you sure you want to do that?" I'd be like, "Well, I'm not sure." And they start asking me more questions. I'd finally get to my truth. I'd be like, "Oh, I guess I really don't." Doesn't mean don't do it anyways. It means witness it and recognize how you used your energy incorrectly.
Yeah, but isn't also, they say Gate 19 is very sensitive to energy. They can walk into a room and know what someone's needing without someone even saying anything.
The sensitivity to the needs of others, the sensitivity to the need of the tribe, the sensitivity to need generally is fired up and given its all spark through the pressure coming out of this adrenaline center that acts as a motor and a pressure center at the same time.
Yeah. Would you say it's almost like this empathy, like this energetic sensitivity to energy in a room?
It very well could be. That would be a nuance we would have to read into the individual, because I'm right angle and it's not always empathy at all. I'm self-absorbed generator with all this centering definition that sometimes I'm just me. I'm just thinking about me. What am I going to get when I bring this into there? You know what I mean? The sensitivity comes when I meet the other side or I meet a solar plex center. Then I can start to mix up and make the right cake batter mix in order to see what should I or should I not be sensitive with.
Yeah, because I have Gate 49 on the other side, so you and I would make this channel. So I kind of lack the sensitivity to kind of know what everyone's needing, making sure everyone has what they need. Oh
yes, and together we in aura and or even just on the phone, Savannah, you and I go through a push and pull to find the right principles that are tribally sensitive to the support of both of us. We do this with each other, and actually
we do this.
Well, right, and therefore, and we come up with rules moving forward, tribal rules of a sort. I'm okay with that. I say that's good. It's not always easy. Sometimes there's just a struggle, because at the end of the day, the super keynote for this tribal definition is support.
Yeah.
So,
loyalty, support.
Loyalty, support. So it can't ever really leave that supportive nature, and if it does, it has to basically get out, leave the tribe.
Yeah.
Thing, and that no one wants to do that easily.
Yeah. So like my sister had Gate 19 as part of her incarnation cross of the 4 ways, and she is just so thoughtful and like giving, making sure everyone's taken care of. If it's like a family member runs into a crisis or something, she's always so giving to help them have what they need. And so that's kind of how I've seen Gate 19 expressed with some of my family members. Would you say that's how it's kind of?
Totally. Now that I think about it, how does it express when someone new needs to be read? I express it all the time. I stop what I'm doing and blah blah blah. I'm up.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, and I don't even think much about it. And then
you're very giving and to everybody that you encounter when you do read. It's not just doesn't stop with the reading. It goes further. If that person comes back, you stop what you're doing to
stay with it.
Yes.
Because we're waking up soldiers, damn it. My sensitivity to the need of the tribe says we need soldiers. So
yeah, I totally see
I'm under adrenaline pressure with an open root center to make sure that starts happening. That's how I keynote that one way.
Yeah.
Light warriors, light warriors. We need them.
What's the next one? Is it gate 50? I can't see. It's 52. Too small. 52.
Who's next? So let's see. Did we read everything? Approach, the gate of wanting, the pressure to be sensitive to ourselves. Yeah. So we got through all of that. So it's a beautiful process, adrenalized process, a fueled process, a motorized process in the various streams. We're leaving those streams of awareness and we're going to move into the format channels, the 3 channels between the sacral and the root center. So this is the first one. 52. Do either of you guys remember which circuitry this is in?
Oh, it's lot. Is that the lot? No, it's abstract. Collective?
Nope. It's collective, but it's because of the crossover. This crosses over, Jen, just like, and it crosses over just like it does in the head center down to the where it crosses over. This does the exact same thing. It crosses over. So this is the logical circuitry. So 52 goes up to 9, and then when it crosses over,
slow down like this.
So and it crosses over to 5. Okay. Yes, and 42 will cross over to 29.
What I thought was interesting about learning the 3 gates that go up and attach to the sacral, I didn't realize this, but each of them has like a depression that what the root is giving them pressure to accomplish and do. If they're not doing that thing, it can lead to them feeling depression. And so, gate 52 is it, they can feel depression if they don't have anything to focus their energy on and use their energy to concentrate and focus on. And so, is that right, Dan? Right?
That's exactly right. It's logical circuitry. So collective circuitry needs to share. Logical collective, so it needs to understand. The understanding circuit, trying to logically get to what it can understand. Ultimately, it also becomes the fuel to be focused and concentrated on that which will become a really smart pattern to enact into the collective. All patterns that come into the collective come in through a logical format of sorts sooner or later. So 52 is the adrenalized pressure to tame the beast and sit still. Sit still, focus and concentrate, because its harmonic gate on the other side is gate 9. That taming power of the smalls, this wild sacral sustaining energy that just wants to tackle all the small things and tame them into something that looks like a fine piece of pottery, or something that looks good and is logical and practical and useful and repeatable. So it's never going to be focused and concentrated on something that's just abstract and can't be repeated. If it can't figure out how it's going to work, it's going to quit. So in order to find out that answer, 52 says, I am adrenaline fuel to tame those small things, the taming power of the small, which is gate 9. The ability to do all that. And it says, I'm going to make you sit still. Don't worry, I'm working. You're under a lot of pressure. You're dealing with the stress just fine. Sit still and focus and concentrate and get logical.
Meditation would help with that?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'd be good at meditation, right?
I would think that they would be, yeah. Unless they're concentrated on something else at the time they're asked to meditate.
Yeah. Well, because my son has gate 52 and it's part of his incarnation cross, and I've heard it nicknamed because it's
cross
called
of service. He's on the cross of service, or is he left angle?
Cross of service. But I've heard it nicknamed because it's called the mountain or stillness, gate 52. Yeah. I've also heard it called the couch potato.
Yeah.
The couch potato gate, and it's so true. My son, he loves to just sit and watch TV, sit and play video games.
Does he have gate 9?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have gate on the other side. But he's always like, his friends are always coming over and they're like, come play with us. And he's like, no, I just want to sit inside. So I'm constantly like, hey, like, Rushton, go play. Like, be a little kid. Like, stop being a couch potato. And so it kind of made me laugh when I read that nickname that
right.
Gate 52 gets.
It's an extreme pressure because it is coming off of our adrenals. It is on fire with the pressure to find so Rushton is trying to find the balance between fear and trust. He's not sure if he should go out and play. We really ought to look into that a little more about Rushton because he doesn't always want to be that couch potato in that moment. He doesn't.
Yeah.
So we should help him filter through some of that. Maybe we'll talk about that, Savannah.
Yeah, and I also, because isn't it also, it's like Gate 52, they have the ability to sit still, but if they don't know what to concentrate on and they focus on the details, then sometimes it can come across as like ADHD, right, or ADD.
Yeah, because they're flying all over the place. Where does my stillness go to? And there's great depression that can come in. All of these format gates off the top of the root center come with their potential for depression. The depression here is, I have all this energy to focus and concentrate, and I don't know what to focus and concentrate on. I don't have a gate 9, or even if I do have a gate 9, I'm still depressed because I'm still not sure. The right thing hasn't come to me. Yes,
and my poor Rushton, he's struggled in school, struggled with ADD, attention deficit disorder. He struggles to focus. He has all this stillness.
He has none of that. He has no such thing in Rushton as attention deficit disorder. He's got this design component, and he'll focus and concentrate on the things that are right for his beautiful, unique individual definition. As I recall, Rushton has some individual definition.
He has a lot of collective. But yeah, I know I'm not supposed to say he has ADD or whatever, but I just think it's interesting that he had Gate 52 part of his incarnation, and he has struggled with being able to focus. And so I just find it interesting.
Just for clarity, would that also have to do with, the school system? Because they teach everybody, they put everybody in the same category, that they're all the same. Not everybody's going to have interest in learning a certain topic or whatever school is teaching them. So he could just be losing interest because what they're teaching him or whatever the class is. Like if he does that in math class, that's probably because he's not that interesting. But if he gets into art class or something like that, that's where he really thrives.
Yes, I'm happy you said that, because that's actually part of like an ADD or ADHD diagnosis. Is if it's something they're interested, they get hyper focused and they can give all this attention to it. But if it's like a subject that they don't really care about, he can't focus on it no matter how much he tries. So yeah, that totally fits with Gate 52, right? Because if it's something the root is telling them to apply their energy and pressure and focus to, then they will be able to do that thing.
Especially with a yes response. And they're like, no, as soon as they're expressing they want this, they're in response to that thing that they want. No, absolutely.
I know in indigenous cultures, especially in the Mayans, they would pull, they have their own separate astrology. And when they would pull astrology on every child born, because some were shamans, some were the hunters and everything like that. And by their chart, they would put them in that training, that school, because they knew that when they grew up, that is something that they would naturally do. I think a lot of our kids, they're all put into the same container and treated the same when they're not obviously designed to be focused on whatever it is that they're learning.
Yeah.
True.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Do you want to go to Gate 60, Dan? Do you feel like you covered everything?
I do. Is there anything else about Gate 52 we can think to mention? Let's read 52. Keeping still mountain, the gate of stillness, the pressure to focus your energy. And
Nicole has a question before we move.
All right.
Seems like he's gathering wisdom to be of service in the future. Should we allow these children to follow that flow? I say yes.
I say yes.
Yeah. So I haven't put my son on medication. I'm just letting him do his thing. I've gotten lots of pressure from the schools to put him on medication.
Yeah.
He's struggling, but And I know there's lots of varying opinions on that topic, and I know it can get really heated, but yeah, you're totally right. Like, you want to support them in what they're interested in, and sometimes it can be hard because they go to school and they have to meet these certain requirements and have to do these certain things. And so, yeah, it gets really hard to navigate. But I really understand what you're saying. Support them in what they're interested in and what they have energy for. So,
Savannah, hats off to not putting him on medication.
Yes.
I know the voice that got that done, Savannah. I know it very well.
oh, well,
Well, like Dan said, you know, everybody is waking up, and it's the awareness of having this and understanding that we're not all the same, so that we don't need to be in the, you know, the school system also needs to change, because it is a pressure to put a kid in a category.
Right, same.
yeah.
And too much
The
recently.
homogenizing meat grinder.
Indoctrination camps
Yeah.
is what it is, where they're, you know, people lose their identity. And I mean, we're adults now. We can go back and see it happen to us when we were in the school system. I got to the point when I got into high school, I just rebelled. Like, if I didn't like a class, I didn't go to it. Or if I wasn't it, I slept through it.
Right.
You know, because it just didn't align with me.
Yeah. And like, I even noticed with Rushton, my son, he is amazing. Like, when it comes to Legos and he's a generator. He's amazing at building Legos. Like, he makes stuff that I can't. And I'm like, there's no way I could have made that. So he really is. He has this intelligence and this genius when it comes to building and creating things. And he really is such a smart boy. And so I just keep like, I try not to let the school system, you know, pull him down.
We help teach the intelligence gaining things to our children at the pace in which they can take it in, not the pace at which we would like to dictate. It's a pretty simple formula, and I think we're all in agreement the school system needs to change. Take that into account.
This is why I love human design, is because it helps us understand how our children's energy works and how their mind works, how they learn. And Rushton has all logical circuitry in his chart. So he's a very logical thinking little boy that likes to build and
become identified with things and repeat it over and over again and practice it and perfect it and create a pattern with it and share it and bring it to the world and share it. Yeah. And repeat and then do it all over again.
Yes.
We like Rushton. Thank you, Rushton. Doing that. We need you.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to gate 60? Because you have that one, Dan. Mm-hmm.
I have gate 60, so I'm not talking about it right now.
Savannah, that's for you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for saying that.
That's
I should have read that out loud for the podcasters. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
The comment was, "You're doing great, Savannah. It's empowering for the rest of us who aren't following in line." It's not easy, and it's with the young kids too. I mean, mine is a senior, and he already knows that they don't want me up at the school because I do speak out a lot about this, but it's not easy making a change. But we're breaking out of the conditioning, and where we're getting most of our conditioning is through the school system. So you're doing a great job, Savannah. Keep doing that and giving him things that allows his
Savannah,
to be creative.
You're the shepherd of the children moving into the future, so you got a big job. Don't make us fire you, all right?
You guys are so sweet and encouraging. Because I've gone to parent-teacher conferences and IEP meetings, and they tell me how far behind he is and where he's struggling. And like there's been times I've left and I've just cried because it's like it's so hard to watch your child struggle, and you want to help them. And so it's being a parent is really, really hard, especially when your children are struggling in school. But thank you for the encouraging words. It means a lot to me. So
it just means he doesn't fit into the indoctrination by the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
But that is a positive thing. Don't cry. God. When you walk, if that ever happens again, don't cry. Walk out and be like, that's my boy. Yeah. Because he's being a rebel against the system. And that is what's needed. And for parents to back the child up
at his
because
age.
so many parents cave underneath it because it's not fitting in or not doing well. The teachers that I have met from my son, they have told me similar things, and I that's what I come back with. My son questions a lot. He likes to get down to it. If something does not resonate with him, he will start asking key questions that throw the teachers off and get them all stuck in their head, and then they think he's being, disruptive or in a certain way. No, he's asking you a question that is challenging your authority, and you're gonna put him in trouble because he's doing that. I tell him no. If I gotta get called to the principal's office, every day because he's gone down there, which he doesn't, he never gets in trouble. I'm not gonna punish him for that or get on to him about that. That's the school system, because they are stuck in their conditioning and everything like that. They're not aware. So the triggering, like this whole topic that we're talking about, the pressure and in dealing with that and the triggering is helping people gain an awareness and a wake up that we're not all the same. We're not all taught the same. We don't all like the same things, and we're not all going to react. And our kids kind of suffer from it because they're put in a system where they're all taught the same things. And we don't even have a say over what they're taught. It's with the school systems. And if you talk to any teacher that's been a long time teacher, it has constantly changed because the state or the system has said that that's what needs to be taught.
And it doesn't. So,
Jen, what is your son? Is he like a generator? What is he? Or
he is a generator. He is on the Incarnation Cross of Rulership, and I can't remember what his profile is at the moment.
He's a manifesting generator. And I think he was a 3-5 profile.
Yes, that's what it was. I wanted to say 1-5, but something was telling me that wasn't that wasn't correct. Or 1-3, but that wasn't correct. Yeah, he's a 3-5.
So so he's going to bump into those things and make it happen. I'm glad he keeps doing that. We gave our kids that, by the way, those of us who were lucky enough to know to do that. So let's do it some more. Gate 60. So I have this gate again in an open root center, the third line, and it's gate 60 is the gate of limitation. We renamed it with the gate of acceptance, because it's only in the acceptance of the limitation do you achieve the transcendence of it. Hi, I'm limited. I can't jump 10 feet in the air. Okay, somebody else maybe can. I can't. That's my limitation. Okay, to accept that is to transcend that. But if I go out and practice every day to try and get to tall jump every higher and higher, and I get up to 6 feet and then 7 feet, and I can never break 10 feet, it better have been something I responded into and felt called into, and just can still accept the limitation, or else I'm going to start growing all these expectations. Gate 60 wants to not be limited. Yeah. It's the old way. Gate 16 is always looking back at what was I any good at a little bit, and now that's not good enough. This gate of limitation is literally there to fuel and pressurize the transcendence of the limitation into something new. Gate 60 starts the individual, unique, mutative process. It's the allspark for it. It begins it. It begins it because it's there in the root center, about to go up into the sacral center, about to create the whole pressure that formats everything else in the whole body graph. These gates on the top of the root center are so important that you can apply their qualities to every other aspect of your body graph if you have one.
So because gate 60, they want to break through the limitations, but if they're in a situation where they're feeling stuck, then it can lead to that depression that we were talking about, how the top 3 ones, where if they're not kind of like accomplishing the thing the root is giving them the energy to do, then it leads to depression. So stuckness, would lead someone with gate 60 to feel very depressed.
Melancholy, sad, and depressed, potentially fully depressed. I'm stuck. I don't know how to transcend this. I didn't know I even needed to transcend something. I'm just stuck, and I can't even tell what it is. Because it's so, again, individual definition. It's in a pulse.
But
Remember,
isn't it like accepting the limitation is how you
ultimately,
break?
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
I
what
had-
would be the high expression of gate 60 versus the low expression of gate 60?
I've got a perfect example of the high expression of gate 60 is I'm in music school. I went to music school for 8 years. I wanted to be a concert pianist. I realized that was a little too much. I wanted to then be, some kind of like jazz film, music composer. That was a little bit rough because I couldn't compose fast. And then I wanted to be in film scoring. So I went to Berkeley in Boston. Loved it. 8 years later. Yeah, I like Berkeley too, Jen.
No,
And
film scores. That's my favorite type of music to listen to.
yes, mine too. That the other character that you can't see, that without it, the movie's boring. And so I love that. And I put music to film and it was great, but I still had a limitation. I was nowhere near as good as all them crazy people at Berkeley that showed up already talented, that showed up at little virtuosos that, because Berkeley in Boston, music school, conservatory, attracted people from around the world. So when I was going to Berkeley, I was pretty good. When I got to Berkeley, I was incredibly mediocre. That's okay. What the hell? And but I felt limited.
I mean, Berkeley's a pretty like renowned school. I'm impressed. I didn't know you went to Berkeley.
I went to Berkeley. I graduated with practically straight A's. I mean, I did good stuff. But when a moment of creation came along, I was limited. All the enthusiasm in the world, all the right now in the world, all the rhythm in the world, nothing could stop the fact that I became limited. There were other cats that could play freestyle jazz with perfect pitch that were faster, better, and better at it in the flow than I was. I had to recognize the limitation. So I quit. I transcended that limitation. I just said, you know what? Man's got to recognize his limitations. I had 8 years on my parents' tab going to college. So, in my 20s. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm ahead of the game. And I just quit one day. I transcended it through the acceptance of my limitation. I'm not going to be a master film scorer. There's other cats that can pump out film scores in an afternoon and get it just right. And it takes me 2 and 3 weeks to even get it halfway done sometimes. That's not going to work in Hollywood. That's not going to work in New York. That's not going to work on some busy film set. No, They need to produce that music that afternoon. I can't do that.
Oh, so that led to a lot of depression that you felt, that you weren't able to like keep
up.
And
Yes.
you felt that limitation within yourself. So it kind of led to like this self-hate, beating yourself up.
Beat myself up, not feeling good enough, all of this stuff. I went through all of these things. I would talk myself out of it because I'm a vessel, so I would love myself anyways, and then I'd fall back into it, and then I'd come back out of it. Finally, the acceptance became the transcendence. I remember my graduating day, I didn't even feel like being there. I'm like, yeah, hand me the thing. It's a piece of paper. Does it say stuff? Okay, cool. Hand it over. Right. Can I keep the cap and gown for memory? Yeah, okay, bye. I'm out.
Yeah.
I left. I never looked back.
So
I never tried to get a job. I never did a dang thing with it.
Yeah. So, but is it almost like you're kind of drawn to see the limitations in yourself and other people? You're drawn to see why something won't work out and why you can't do something, right?
It's a really good interpretation of that, Savannah. Yes, absolutely. So I will always be coming up against where my limitations are. I will always be transcending them. It's in an open center, so I'll always be being conditioned by those around me as to where and what way in which I feel limited. And the correct ways for me will be the ones I respond to. The correct ways for me will always be, what is it I'm responding into in the moment? And so if I truly feel limited and it's something that somebody else doesn't like, then I get to go ahead and not like them and instead of not liking me. I mean, because we have to deal so much with the abrasiveness of others that are annoyed at us, at whatever. Everything from annoyed up to I want a divorce and I'm really angry, so we keep living out that cycle, and it's time to break the chains. Those are the chains that bind us, that annoyance cycle. Screw that. We want out. Transcend your limitation. As soon as you start feeling stuck and limited, live through the sadness. It's going to go away. It's going to make you smarter. And on the other side, you transcend stuff. try and fix the sadness, take on programs that say they'll fix the sadness, try and come up with reasons for the sadness, and try and blame someone else for the sadness, it's not going to be transcended.
So is it almost like you're driven and have pressure to see the limitations, and then also either just abandon them or overcome them? I mean, is it to like give up, or is it to like keep fighting?
Yeah, that was perfect. Yes, what you just said. I don't know if you can say it again.
I don't know. Well, so it's almost
we
like
got it on video.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I can't remember what I said. But so pretty much you're like driven to see limitations and to accept when there's something you can't do. So,
Right.
but it's okay to like give up, or is it like, no,
Totally.
you're supposed to push
Yes.
through the limitation and
Give up, quit, run away. You're done.
Really? But
Yes,
I feel like that's
because
almost like a negative thing. Like they're always like, no, push through. Like
what happens when you
overcome,
give up?
push through.
You already can't do it. I already can't jump 10 feet in the air. So I already can't do it. So when I finally give up at trying to jump 10 feet in the air, what's wrong with that? That sounds smart. That actually sounds like I've accepted my limitation and moved on. That's the transcendence. The transcendence is don't prove you can overcome the limitation by being the thing. No, you can't jump 10 feet in the air, kid. Someone 20 years old maybe can, but not you. Get used to it. It's a limitation. Like it.
I think that goes with self-acceptance.
Self-acceptance. So, well, look at the name of the gate. The gate of acceptance.
Oh, hey,
It's right in the name. It's the transcendence is the acceptance. And the closer we can get the need for transcendence to the acceptance, I would like to see that happen over the course of 2 minutes. The time it takes to order a pizza. Okay, that's how long I want it to take from now on, because when it takes 2 years, it sucks all that time out of our life. We think we're limited, stuck, depressed, and now we're not making good decisions. Well, that meant something to you, Jen, huh? What'd that mean?
But no, it makes sense because I mean, I don't have this gate, but I'm analyzing different things that I have over pushed myself, and that's probably my ego stepping in. That I've spent way too much time to realize that, okay, this is not really for me, or it's like I'm trying to fit a puzzle piece into the piece of the puzzle that's not working. That's but yeah, this one would come with a lot of self-acceptance and understanding what your limitations are.
Right. Our limitations are, I mean, we're limited, dude. We're limited by virtue of being born. We're born limited. The possibilities are infinite, but the capabilities are not. Your capabilities have a limitation. The possibilities are limitless.
I've been watching Game of Thrones, and the person that came to mind, the character was Samwell Tully. Samwell was the book reader. He wanted to be the maester, but his dad wanted him to be the hunter and stuff like that. And even when they were trying to train him to fight, he had that self-acceptance and said, I'm never going to be that.
And he became the book reader.
He ended up becoming the maester.
Okay.
The Grand Maester, actually.
Yeah.
But
that would be a thing. So when Hollywood went through the effort to characterize that and bring it into film so we could see the emotion of it unfold cinematically speaking, they did a pretty good job of showing somebody accepting their limitation.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you, Hollywood. That's the only thing you're good for at this point, but thank you. So that was a little jab. So there's our limitation, and it's melancholic and it's in a pulse. So when you're going to overcome the limitation, for me, I have to know I have to wait because it's in the individual circuitry, which is keynoted by needing to empower, but also by being in a pulse. The awareness of individuality is either there or it's not. It shows up independent of what we want in its own pulse. So, anything else on gate 60 you guys want to say?
No. Oh, I can't see. Is it gate 53 is the next one?
53.
And what are we doing for time? Because we may have to run this into the next one.
Do you want to save the next, or do you want to save the next
we'll
three?
Save the left-hand side for next time.
I would say so, because I really like that it's the in-depth explanation of each gate. So
yeah, so we'll stop at 53. And I love 53, this gate of development, the gate of beginnings. It's the pressure to begin and start a new cycle. it's a pressure to do so driven by an abstract process from above, but it's still the pressure to begin something new because it's part of the abstract experiential cycle. It's driven to start and begin cyclical processes, and the depression that can come along is when there's nothing new to start, or they're not allowed to start, or there's no new beginning worth starting. Or a depression that I would like to start, but I'm the starter. I'm not necessarily the finisher. The finisher is across the way in gate 42. It's harmonic gate on the other side that would make the channel. That's the gate of completion and finishing things. You're a starter. You're a beginner. You begin the things. You get stuff rolling. And by the way, it takes a lot to start something. Because to start something means there's nothing, and now you start it.
Yeah.
So starting always is from basically from nothing, from the experiences of the past. You're always foundationed on the experiences of the past, and you would now like to start something in relation to that.
Yeah. So my sister-in-law has this gate 53 in her son. And it is so funny because she's just constantly always starting these new projects. Like she ripped out half of her carpet and was planning on wanting to
redo that way.
Yeah, but now it's stayed that way. So she's making a chicken coop, but then doesn't finish it, and sometimes it can drive my brother crazy. But when I pulled her chart and I saw that she had this gate in her son, it kind of just made me chuckle because she's always starting all these projects and they don't always get finished.
When they need the chicken coop, someone will finish it. When the carpet gets in the way and they need to sell the house and stage it to look pretty, they'll finish the carpet. If it's not hurting their life along the way in the moment, they're fine. So hubby, surrender to your beautiful wife's need to start things. And then wifey, you can start to surrender to the fact that maybe you don't always need to start the thing. You can fantasize about it and leave it at that and save some money on nails and wood and chicken coop. So
yeah, because she's kind of beating I can't talk, beating herself up because she'll start she started beauty school but then didn't finish it, and then she started this other class and didn't finish it. And so sometimes I think it can be hard with this gate is sometimes they can struggle to finish things and kind of beat themselves up about it, but really they're not meant to always finish the things that they start. But they're driven to and have this pressure from the root to start all these new things and these new journeys and these new projects and things like that. And if they aren't able to start things, it can make them feel depressed if they can't.
True.
Mm-hmm.
It is so true. If you take this gate and you do what I mentioned earlier about all the format gates. Again, these make the format channels, these 3 channels that would be completed with these 3 gates. So gate 53 needs to start, since it's a format. The word format means it formats the rest of that person's design and the rest of the people you come in contact with. This is a formatting energy. It will actually, all the format gates, and especially the channels even more so, you can take their quality and overlay it onto any other definition in your body graph and apply it. This will apply to everything else in your sister-in-law's body graph, this gate. You can always add it on top. That's how important these format channels and these root gates are. Go ahead, Jen. What were you going to say?
No, I was just responding to Corinne. Talking. Keep going.
So 53, this need to start something. A great sadness that can come along is you always start something, but you can't tell if you're going to finish it. And that makes me sad. That's a thing. So when you get sad because you can't finish the thing, and you're looking at it and you don't even want to start it because you've learned the hard way that you don't always finish stuff, and now you feel bad because you want to start it, but you don't think you're going to finish it, so you don't start it, and then you feel bad again. And you see what I'm doing? I'm going around a circle. Recognize that's your not self-mind. That's who you're not. Go ahead and start the stupid thing. You'll be happy with yourself. Just don't expect yourself to always finish it. And if it costs more than $200 to start the thing and you're married, ask your spouse, I guess, right? Involve them a little bit. Maybe you'll realize, I don't need to start that one. I'll start something else. But regardless, it's a cooperative nature. You have to share it.
Can someone come in and help them finish it?
Are you kidding me? That's how it's designed to work.
Yeah, the gate on the other side is 42. They're the type that likes to finish things, right, Dan?
So if you find someone that has the 42 and that channel connects, then you would work well together, correct?
Suddenly things are finishing. Yeah. And you're not necessarily the one finishing it.
Right. Right.
Right, exactly. So now this is the human experiential process, right? Format, channel, collective, abstract. So it's trying to experience all the joys and things that the abstract process has to give us. Endless different experiences it would like to start. When this format channel is in place, what it will do is it will format and overlay on top of gate 41. Because gate 41 is that abstract process that starts the abstract process of the human experiential way through the solar plex. So if you have 53 and you have 41, you hunger and desire for the new experience, and boy, you're going to start some of them.
Yeah, I was just going to say you're fantasizing a lot.
You're going to start some of them, but you just started a new relationship. You can't finish it. You're not bad. They're not bad. You started your dang experience. You got some of it. Move on. Accept it. Because it's not that you're bad or good. It's that that's how you're designed. And start loving the things about your design because they're actually really good. By the time you've been through several starts and stops, you're wicked smart about starting and stopping. We need you to become smart about starting and stopping. Right, and so if you have gate 60 and gate 53, and gate 60 says I'm imprinting the limitation on you, 53, and 53 says I still want to start something and I want to experience the new beginning of something. These two guys are going to be at war with each other, and 53 is going to make starts happen, and 60 is going to make starts stop. And these will work together that way until the being realizes. Get into your strategy and authority. If you've got all these gates pointing up at your sacral, chances are one of them connects. So you're a generator. So wait to respond to whatever the thing is going to be. So you see what I'm saying? They all reach into each other to do that. So 53 is like a dog on a chain trying to get off. And that dog's not going to live a happy life if you keep it chained. You can't chain up a 53. You can't put them on a leash on a run. You can't
make
really
them
give them the boss very much unless it's just the right one. Go ahead.
If you try and chain up a 53 and tell them they can't start new things or new projects in the house or new ventures or new schooling or something, like that would make them very depressed.
How about starting a new book, a new study, anything, right? And 53 going throughout the house on a day might look a little bit like a squirrel, especially if it's on an open center. Actually, either open or defined. Because 53 started this. Oh, I started the laundry. Oh, no, I started the dishes. I started the shopping.
So can it kind of manifest as like ADHD?
Absolutely. All of these can, yeah. And
she does. She struggles with ADHD.
Right. So she struggles with her desire. Don't forget, desire runs through the experiential, abstract, collective process. You can keynote that word desire through all of the abstract gates. Jen, you and I have the channel of abstraction between our head and ajna. There's such desire in that channel to have all those pressures that come through as confusions that turn into realizations. We desire to see them get out into the world, Yes, we desire to act on them, start all these things.
Well, I'm glad you pointed that out because my next question was on this one. How does that manifest as for a manifester? Because we are designed to initiate and start new things. But when that's starting, we don't always complete it.
Right.
So would it be a double? Like they would have more of a desire?
Absolutely. And then the manifestor will then get to recognize, well, am I getting angry at this? Everything goes back to the larger picture of the strategy and authority. They got to keep strategy and authority and type strategy and authority rule the day. They rule our entrance into our interface with our biomechanical package, this body of ours that is constantly doing stuff. So we need that. What do you think about manifestors in gate 53?
I thought you were wrapping up the show. Sorry. I was like,
we can wrap it up.
No, yeah, it seems like they would if you were a manifestor, and then if you had gate 53 in your sun, and if it was hanging, you would probably start all these things and then not finish them and probably hate yourself. for not finishing them. But then human design would say nothing's wrong with you. Love yourself. Right?
And they would be right. That
Yeah.
would be and that would end up being correct. So yeah, let's stop at gate 53. This beautiful abstract experiential pressure to start stuff, because let's see what happens. I like to play with matches. Let's find out how that works, you know?
I feel like there's such a
No, not matches.
I feel like there's such a stigma about not finishing things, right? It's like, oh, you're a quitter, you know, you
That's
don't.
some BS right there. You're right,
Yeah.
Sven. That's a
So I feel
stigma
like
that doesn't belong.
I feel like learning about this, and if you had this circuitry in your chart, would be very comforting for yourself and help you to just love and accept yourself. So, but yeah, no, I love this going through the gates, and then I'm excited to cover the 3 gates on the route the next time, and then the 3 gates in the head center.
Yeah,
So,
6 and 6. Okay, this works.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, all right. Well, how long has it been?
We're
An hour and 35.
yeah.
An hour and 35. That's okay.
What? Okay, we're done.
We've talked too long.
Well, we'll definitely cover the other 3 gates and then move on to the head center next week. So you guys make sure to tune in for part 2. If you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the show. I'll make sure to attach the PDF to the description for this playback. If you are listening to it on Spotify, you'll be able to pull that up. Also, we'll be posting the graphics, so make sure that, you know, if you guys want a copy of them, you can just grab one off of our social media. If you're not already following, make sure you do that. Other announcements.
It's the best $250 you'll ever spend. Book your session. Let's get you on board. It's worth it.
Yes, if you haven't already, guys, make sure that you definitely book a session with Dan. If you're quite not sure what to do, we are offering free consultation calls. You can book that as well. Dan can pop on, talk to you for a little bit, and then y'all can move from there.
Actually, we've opened it up. Any one of the 3 of us can actually do a consultation call.
Yes, absolutely. Any of us can do it. So definitely make sure that you guys take advantage of that. Don't forget, too, we have the Vortex Open, which is our monthly tribal community that we talk about all sorts of different things. Round human design. We have our first group coaching call this Tuesday. I'll be sending out an email about that and making some posts. So if you want to learn more and have some questions and talk to us behind the scenes, and we're going to be going over some topics, take advantage of that, because it's one hell of a good price for you guys. We're here to help support you through your deconditioning process. That way you can start to integrate and living according to who you were created to be. And I think that's it.
Guys.
We hope everyone has a beautiful Sunday, and we will talk to you on Wednesday.
Catch you on the flip side.
Bye.